Thank you, Joe. And you are looking live right now at the service that has just begun. We'll listen in now.
That's the old man I wants to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man River, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling. He just keeps rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, but them that plants 'em is soon forgotten. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. You and me, we stress and strain, bodies all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge, lift that bale, get a little drunk and you lands in jail. I gets weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of living and scared of dying. But old Man River, he just keeps rolling along. That old Man River, he just keeps rolling along.
As listed in your program, we're now going to have reflections on the life of Fred Meijer from three who knew him well. At this time, David Hooker will begin.
Good morning. It is indeed a very high honor to be standing in this important place to pay tribute to Fred Meijer, a man we all loved. But it is also an honor for me to represent my wonderful colleagues and the millions of people who have been touched by Fred and Lena's generosity. It is an honor I take very seriously. The most basic question in all of life is, how will I live my life? It is also the most important question to ask in life. For it is a question we ask ourselves consciously or unconsciously every day. We wake up every morning and rub our eyes clean and start making decisions about how we will live our lives. It is the most important question because it cuts to the heart of our values, the values we hold most dear, and guide the words we speak and the actions that we take. As the days and years pass, it works its way into our DNA and embodies the sum total of our human experience. And in short, it's the way we define our life. Or another way to put it, it is our own internal moral inquiry that in turn projects ourselves out into the world. It is how we define ourselves to our wife or our husband, our children, extended family, and ultimately to the community and the world beyond. Fred Meijer had a very profound and wonderful answer to this most important question. For 33,592 days, he got up and he went into the world and he answered the question by making the world a better place in which to live, a much better place. Because I read my friend Larry Tenharmsel's book, I know Fred was a good student and a son who made his parents proud. It is my very good fortune to have known Fred and know what a great husband, father, grandfather, entrepreneur, and philanthropist that he was. I could see it in the way he met people at Meijer Gardens and the way he made decisions about the future of Meijer Gardens. His integrity, honesty, good cheer, humor, and the high value he placed on human relationships was very easy to see. In fact, it was a joy to see. The way he would tell young school children to call me Fred as he handed one of his famous purple cow cards to them. The culture he built at the Meijer Corporation, the way he always looked for and found the good in people. Let me tell you a story. In 2008, we had an exhibition of Degas' sculpture at Meijer Gardens. It was a big deal. Degas was a pioneer of the modern sculpture movement, and his work defines the beginning of our sculpture collections. We had all of Degas' works flown in from Brazil. Fred and Lena couldn't make the opening night, so I had him out for a tour. We spent over an hour in the galleries. Fred barely looked at the sculptures. He spent the whole time talking to people and having fun conversations. He finally turned to me and said, "David, it's time for me to go." And I said, "Okay, Fred, but you haven't really looked at the artwork." And he said, "Well, that's okay. I've had so much fun talking to all my new friends." So you see, it's not about the stuff, not even really good stuff, or even the finest of finest stuff that man can make. It's about how the stuff can bring us together to build relationships. The stuff is only important for people to come together and experience joy with each other. And Fred was an early and very strong advocate for making sure that Meijer Gardens was accessible to all people, regardless of their abilities. He was doing this long before there was a thing called ADA. That is why when you visit Meijer Gardens, you can enter the facility, have lunch in our cafe, visit our galleries, go to the Lena Meijer Tropical Conservatory, visit the Children's Garden and the Sculpture Park, and use the restrooms, but you never have to touch a door or negotiate a step. Our community is blessed with some very prominent institutions that bear the Meijer name. One thing we, and I use the word we as I get to represent one of those institutions, all have in common is Fred's generosity. Now, we each have different missions. At Meijer Gardens, we bring joy to people through horticulture and sculpture. Other institutions are dedicated to our health, the performing arts, a better education. But I also see a thing in common is Fred's desire to improve the human condition. So we have better access to the arts and better arts. We have better health care, access to trails to enjoy the natural environment, and better educational institutions, all because of Fred. How great is that? There is something very important about Frederick Meijer Gardens and Sculpture Park that you need to know. At the opening of the Sculpture Park, Fred said the following: "People deserve a place that inspires them, challenges them, and offers opportunities to consider the beauty and mysteries of the human experience." He was really serious about this. So he went about collecting the great works of modern and contemporary sculpture. It is especially noteworthy that this collecting from the very beginning was done for a public purpose. He never collected art to build a private collection. This is another great example of Fred Meijer breaking the mold or existing way of doing things. It is an extraordinary, noble act of generosity. The physical result is Meijer Gardens. The much more important result is the amazing improvement of the human condition as a result of collecting all this stuff. Fred and Lena's idea of putting horticulture and sculpture together has benefited millions of people. And when you come to Meijer Gardens, the most exciting thing to see is often the people experiencing joy with all that stuff. Gratitude is an important emotion. At its deepest, gratitude is an emotion that serves to motivate us and inspire us to do good works. Our gratitude for the way that Fred lived his life and his many accomplishments has and should motivate us to make the world a better place. His amazing gifts will continue to give us, our children, our grandchildren, the opportunity to bring joy to others. One last Fred story. We have been blessed to undertake many projects at Meijer Gardens. After we planned each project, Fred would turn to me and say, "David, will I live long enough to see this through?" Of course, I always answered, sure, Fred, you will. He would smile and say, "Yeah, well, if you're wrong, I guess I'll never be able to hold you to it." He said this to my wife and me just over a week ago. I was certainly wrong in a physical sense, but maybe not really wrong. I leave you with one final thought. We are here today because of Fred, but we are really here for Lena, for Hank, for Liesel, for Doug, for Star, for Mark, for Mary Beth, and all your children. And we're here because we love you. And at this most difficult time, we're here to tell you that we love you and we care for you, and that you can claim that promise at any time. God bless you, and thank you very much.